Caddis Maximus here, this time with the Harbor Freight Composite Air Die Grinder, part number 68831. This is their largest and basically their best air die grinder. They have a variety of ones, long shank and right angle, and those are all pretty handy, but I think as far as absolute amount of power, this composite die grinder is their strongest one. And it uses a huge amount of air to go along with that amount of power. It's a pretty nice die grinder, and for its size, I kind of like the larger, really tiny ones are nice, but so are these larger ones because they're just a little easier to grip with the larger barrel for certain situations. And it's not incredibly light, but it's still pretty lightweight. And it's definitely pretty smooth running. It's just, it does use quite a bit of air. Let's give you a close look at it here. As far as a lot of the other die grinders, this one also looks a lot nicer, even though this front case, it has metal under it, but that is plastic. It's pretty much all plastic. This red area is also hard plastic. It is not actually a rubber overmold, even though it kind of looks like it. And here's the end piece. It is variable power, and so I do like that, or a dial variable speed. They put a little ball bearing in the corner of the nut to tell you where the stop point is, and it actually does have a ball dentant. But this, I wouldn't call it too much of a problem. This, changing the power level is very stiff, at least on this particular unit. But in reality, it's kind of nice because, you know, once you set the power level, if you're using it and your hand gets back here, that you're not going to have to worry about that knob just moving or adjusting itself on you, or you putting a little bit of pressure on it and having it readjust. It also has this interesting feature, what I thought was pretty unique, is a 360-degree rotating exhaust port. So the exhaust comes up into this cup, and then it comes out through these holes here, and you can just twist this around any direction. So if it's blowing in your face or blowing up dust, you can twist it, and I thought that was pretty innovative, and there are many air tools where that could be applied to. I have also read where some people have had said that you get even more power if you remove this collar and just let the exhaust freely flow out, and so I did want to mention that. Even the trigger screw is plastic on this. Of course, the internals are metal. One thing I will mention is that it does have really tight bearings. This one's only been used a few times, but as far as end play, the spindle going in and out, or side play, there is none. When these are new, this spindle actually feels really nice. It's absolutely dead tight. Another nice little feature is they have a kind of a heavier duty nut than they use on most of their die grinders, and it is actually heavier. And it has 4 flats cut into it. There we go. Now you can see, and I thought that's pretty nice because then it's easier to get the wrench on. Why they didn't cut 4 flats onto the shank, I don't know. But it would have been nice. It would have matched the 4 flat nut. And the last real thing to mention here is the handle, because it's much better than their standard ones. I kind of like this sandblasted finish. It has a little hook on the end, which they don't do, and then it has actually a solid lockout switch with a little bevel, so it's much easier to hit and grab. To grab this and use it, it's really a lot easier than, say, a standard lever switch. Such as on this air scraper. This would be one of their standard ones. It's flat with the peg, and sometimes they're, even on this, they're a little funky to hit because you got to kind of hit them from the side, and your finger doesn't always end up in the position you want. Where this one's really innovative, where it works is preventing it from accidentally activating when you're setting it down, but it's still just really, really easy to operate. I really like that design. Another thing to mention is I believe it's just a 20,000 RPM dart grinder, so it's not some extreme speed 30,000 RPM or 35,000 RPM. But it certainly gets the job done. You know, it's designed for a little bit bigger wheels. And for the power, I believe this is the strongest one Harbor Freight sells. It's interesting that they have those red Professional and then the new Earthquake XT, so that's 2 generations of really nice air impact wrenches, but they haven't really translated into those more premium grade air tools across the rest of their air tool line. You know, Harbor Freight has about 40 or 50 different air tools, so it's kind of surprising, although this one is still pretty nice. It would be nice if they had like one that was actually advertised Harbor Freight Professional, because I'm sure people would buy it. But in the meantime, you'll have to settle for this one. Thank you so much again for watching. Please subscribe. Catus Maximus out.